And the goal of sitting up here today and speaking with all of you who are looking forward to happy hour and the boat ride, I'm sure, we just want to really share some experience of ours. And that includes an approach to IT and operations that really helps de-risk. We talked a little bit about that. Some other chats have mentioned it. You're bringing in new innovation, we have to de-risk it. So we're going to talk about a way that you can utilize IT and operations to do that. And I hope that by the end of this presentation, what you'll take away is a way for you to have a blueprint in order to build what we're going to call a digital experience twin. So maybe the digital twin buzzword has gone a little too far. You can also think of it like an avatar, but I think you'll get the picture as Jay and I build that out. So I'm Shari Christofferson, president of Connect, and we empower warehouse IT operations with visibility into their front line so that they can really start to drive innovation and de-risk these operations. So I'm joined by my customer and becoming a friend, Jay Wheelington from 𝙤𝙤𝙬𝙧𝙣𝙜. So Jay, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and both in the warehouse and outside the warehouse.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Jay Wheelington, System Administrator of 𝙤𝙤𝙬𝙧𝙣𝙜 Distribution Center in Phoenix, Arizona. How many people in here are sports fans? Have kids that play sports? Awesome. So I'm all about sports. I'm a coach when I'm not in the DC or doing anything IT related. And when it comes to the DC, I'm in charge of WMS support, systems integration, technical support. So I'm super IT and sports at all times.
That's perfect. We've talked about this a lot today, so I won't belabor the point too much, but we all know that we want to put innovation, we want to do automation in your warehouses, in your business in general. Probably we've all adopted some type. And we do that for a lot of reasons, right? It gives you that competitive edge. In fact, I think the history of Connect started with bringing in an ability to connect WMSs like McHugh Freeman to the front line, like Honeywell and Zebra Device, and at the time I guess that would be like Symbol, out on the plant floor. And so we were part of that whole beginnings of really starting to automate things in the warehouse. And it's come a long way, but there are always going to be, you should still do it, but we've talked a little about, everyone really wants to talk about getting rid of these risks. So what are those risks? There's the risk of adopting, the labor actually taking that in and being able to work with it. There's the production impacts. There's also reputational risks for a lot of decision makers. And then the thing I think we're going to really focus on is IT support challenges. So Jay, maybe you can provide some on the ground insights to this. Is there any recent anecdote you have about maybe technology implementation not going exactly as planned, even though the whole idea is awesome?
Yeah, I have a great example. As we all know, upstream decisions are made sometimes without understanding some of the background things that happen. I would say in my building, they decided, hey, let's go with AI, which is a big talk from today. We integrated software that actually tracks all of our teammates' movements, and it helps us understand safety and also the ergonomics of how they're moving. Can we put them in a better position to help our DC produce these cases that come out the building? So with that, it was a lot of back-end challenges that we are now realizing, hey, how do we track this? Or it's so much data, how do we cipher through that data? So that's a great example of just some of the risks can happen once you implement a new software program, AI. In your building.
Yeah. And I think we would both agree. I know for me, I'm just going to make this point. We've been talking about it maybe directly or indirectly, but IT is really foundational. There's no way to implement any technologies or bring anything to the fore without doing these steps, right? Going through the network and the data architecture, integrating the systems. You joked about APIs everywhere. We know we need them. That's part of it, the integration. And dealing with the data, that huge amount of data. And I know Paula talks about really data being a lot of the product and what do you do with it. And then finally, the IT support and maintenance. So, you know, for me, the reason why I'm very passionate about this and I wanted to bring this into this discussion today is because Connect, we get brought in a lot of times with the red and blue lights flashing, meaning everybody thought everything would be great. They're going to do a WMS upgrade. They're going to put out new devices. They're going to upgrade to something. And it gets out on the floor, and Josh, you talked a lot about this as well, and boom, it's not really working as well as we thought. Or sometimes it's a massive disaster. And the problem can be that they, you know, you want to assume everything's going to go well, but maybe there wasn't enough thought put into how are we actually understanding all of the inner workings of the various technology pieces or systems and how that reflects on the front line. And Jay, you just shared a story very similar to that. You have anything to add here, being foundational yourself to all of this?
Yeah, we're really passionate about, and also the teammates are passionate about some of the things that are coming in the building and how they can help get the product out to athletes faster, and how we can control the process a little better. Yeah, just a little twinge.
So I forgot this, we're gonna make it a game, but it's not too late to start with being Dick's Sporting Goods and everything being sports related. Have you noticed he's used teammates for the front line and athletes are the customers, right? So the game we could play here today is how many times we use sports analogies throughout this talk. So you get free Dick's Sporting Goods or Connect swag if you can count how many times we do this, which we could start now. So I will start by introducing our case study. You know, what we did was we started creating basically a digitization of the actual technology experience as the front line is experiencing it in the context of IT. And so, you know, through doing that, we were able to accomplish some goals for Dick's. Automating a process that is actually a process that you have to go through every day almost, right? We're automating the IT processes so that Dick's could more easily automate processes out on the floor, right? So we're gonna play a video because everybody loves a DC tour. We're gonna walk through it. It's silent, so Jay's gonna kind of give you a tour as if we're walking through it. And you'll see some things in there that are annotations, and that's kind of showing you a little bit of what my company is bringing in terms of the data. So we're gonna try to see how this can work. Go. Oops, didn't go. How do we make the video go? You got me over there? Thank you. All right, welcome to Dick's Goodyear facility.
Yes,
right?
This is the Goodyear facility, one of the 5, or actually 5.5. They're building one in Texas now. But as you can see, we have over several 100,000 square foot of warehouse in Goodyear, and that's the same in a lot of our DCs. We typically ship out over 30,000 cases a day, right? And some DCs have over a mile of actual conveyance in the building. Other things that happens in the building, we have anywhere from 100 to 300 different devices going at a time. Mobile devices, RF guns, gladiators that sit on the arm, so cameras in the building. So there's a lot in the building. As you can see, there's a lot with the picking and packing and shipping in the building. So yeah, and even in our Conklin DC in New York, we have the Autobot, which I've heard mentioned a few times today, which causes it helps us push out e-com a lot better, and also causes challenges on the back end. So yeah, and as you can see in the building, the user experience in the video, the user experience is a lot, right? We have people in loading, shipping, receiving that's actually using a lot of this technology and not understanding how to report that back to somebody like me. So yeah.
So that's a good point, Jay. You're kind of seeing the current view where we're able to get an understanding of how every single transaction is being recorded by the Connect system to really understand their user experience and to quickly diagnose. But what was it like beforehand? Like what if you don't have this level of visibility, what is your job like, and what is the process like to help the teammates get the information they need to pack boxes on the truck?
Yeah, a lot of it, my team always tells me, hey, we went out to the floor, the teammate said this is happening, but a lot of times when it's reported, it's 3 to 4 hours later. It's a lot harder to go back and see, hey, we had a network issue or a software issue, or we need to reach out to the vendor. So we had a lot of guesswork happening or experience, right? Unless it was a complete shutdown, we would have to hope that the teammate would give us great information to pinpoint what's actually going on.
Right, and you know, now, as you guys kind of see in here, it's almost like, you know, I went to an NFL game this weekend. I'll admit it was my first. And it wasn't the Bears, and I'll just leave it at that. And, you know, I do watch some on TV, and I was kind of astounded by, you know, the difference. When you're at the game, there's a lot of excitement. You're right there in the middle of the mix, and you can see the players. But when you're at home and you're watching the game, you have all these analytics that you see, right? There's lines going across the screen, there's speeds, there's feeds, there's this, there's all kinds of great stuff that's happening. And I think that could be a way to kind of characterize the difference between the before and after. When you don't have that visibility, you're kind of sitting there. I mean, being at the game is great. You're in the mix, and you could do everything manually, but it's also nice to have that layer of visibility. I think there was a scene coming up here, but I can also characterize it for you a little bit more in a moment. So generally, you know, what Dick's Sporting Goods was able to do is innovate their IT support from a situation where everything was more verbal. Hey, Jay, where are you? You know, 3 hours later, troubleshooting and hunting down logs, working with different vendors may have been a little bit challenging. So the mobile systems intelligence piece is what we call the system that Connect brought on board, and the key things are really giving the front line a mechanism for feedback. You may have seen a little splash on the screen of a user, what we call a user report. And they can use that to basically not have to hunt down Jay, being one of only 2 IT people, I believe, in the entire building, yep. 700,000 square feet. And then the analytics of their experience in context of the IT system are actually carried with the complaint. And the root cause analysis is done. It's triaged automatically by the system. And it's continuously recording metrics about their experience. So every single user basically has an NFL-style stats that follow them around that inform all kinds of things. You know, and that's a visual there. You know, I'm Shari. I've done, you know, over almost 4,000 transactions. My experience was generally positive, but I did report in connection issues, and the system diagnosed those were RF delays. It looks like coverage, and now Jay knows that, you know, Shari needs some help with that. So that's sort of what we mean by this digital experience twin. And again, I might be making leaps there, but it really is taking a view of how they act in motion. So, you know, as we get to this piece here, I think you've talked a lot about problem resolution. You know, as a coach, them being your teammates or your players, do you get any feedback from them, like at how they feel about being able to use these tools? I mean, is there anything that it impacts for them, or do they not care?
Oh, they care a lot. I know in our building we have what's called PAR, and so
Ding.
That affects them. They're incentivized with PAR each quarter, so if they're not meeting the standard of the PAR, they like to know why. What did I do? So those times where they're losing time on the gun, they had a connection problem. Before we couldn't pinpoint it as fast. Now they can actually on the RF equipment they can enter it in real time and say, hey, send me a message. Hey, Jay, this happened. This was the error. Can you please look at this? And when we take a look at that data, we can reach out to our IE people and say, hey, can you fix the PAR? Let's change the standard based on the issues that we're having in the building. And also it empowers them to say, hey, I told you, Jay, I had an issue. Why isn't it fixed yet? Or are we working on this? So they're really encouraged by having this software, and hopefully we can implement it in more ways. So.
I think you've hit on something that I think a lot of us would call accountability. Maybe we don't always want it, but I think accountability is definitely what they get to hold you accountable, and with the data analytics, you get to hold your vendors and your partners accountable. I've been involved in some of the support processes, just sort of peeking in on what's going on, and it's interesting to see how, like our partner who we work with and there provides a lot of the RF equipment, and our collaboration is so fast. I mean, there's no going out on site. There's instant accountability for whatever the problem is, right? If it's a host application problem, if it's a RF device configuration issue that needs to be resolved, the data is there. So you never really get in this position of this. And that means that the front line has, gotten to the point where they expect, because they need to make money. I guess they get a bonus with PAR, right?
Correct.
Yeah, like a financial, quarterly, yeah.
Yes.
So they're incentivized to everybody to work together as a team, right? So another thing I love about Dix. So where could this go? I know we've talked a lot. Everybody's talking about AI. I would say that, and Jay, I would love for you to speak to this a little bit. There's a lot of ways to use data. As we heard earlier today, all throughout the day, we're hearing about data, where it goes, how it's used. And I think technology comparison is a really good case, right? Can you speak to, like, as a coach and looking at all of these things coming together, like, what does this data do for you and Dick's Sporting Goods in general to have that visibility?
Yeah, like you talked about earlier, let's say I'm the coach. I look at the connect, or the ability to look at all this data as the assistant coach, right? A lot of times we're so busy implementing and figuring out things. Connect actually sits in the back and analyzes this data and say, hey, maybe you should take that player out and put this player over here instead of a post. We have a point guard. So as you can see, I like to use sports analogies, sorry. But yes, I think that it's really helping us understand how to move PAR around and move teammates around in our building and multiple buildings. And I hope in the future we can use this more on just RF equipment in the networking sector, and how we use labor management, right? So those are things that I hope helps us in the future. So.
That's great. I love that I've just been labeled an assistant coach. I think that's an honor. Yeah, for the Dick's team. That's pretty cool.
Coach, that's great.
Yeah, no, that is really awesome. So, there's all kinds of ways to go with this. Obviously, from a high level data lake situation right now, depending upon where Dick's wants to go in terms of their technology, they now can understand and compare the actual user experience instead of guessing how something's gonna, or where they're at, right? They have that benchmark to know if we give this teammate more, more juice here, less, how that's gonna really impact their PAR and impact how the athletes are able to get the products that they need. Because everybody I talk to talks about how easy it is to get things ordered and fulfilled at Dick's. So, no, it's good. There's a lot. And then, of course, I think the holy grail is there. There's a chat interface we're definitely heading in this direction where, there's just more of a verbal conversation with the whole system, right? And that may integrate pieces you may have heard today from Honeywell and other vendors where they're also incorporating all of this data from various sources to really build an understanding of how to improve things. So, I think that sums it up. I mean, to leave you with that blueprint, the first kind of thing I would say, and my mission here is, you got to consider IT support from the beginning.
Yes.
Right? Because you've now heard how it can really impact the day-to-day of the IT team. And I think we showed you a method for doing that with tying feedback to your data. I think it's important to empower the front line and empower everybody in the step of the process. What would you say, Jay, in summary?
Yeah, I would say don't stop innovating, right? Just think about how it affects the DC and the teammates, and also upstream to your operations team, right, and stakeholders. We want to still innovate, but we want to also understand what we're bringing into the building and how it affects ultimately our athletes in the store. So please continue to bring new innovations and data integrations.
Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect. And transform IT, right?
Yes.
Like innovate on the IT side and give everybody the tools they need so that, because nothing works if it doesn't connect to the network generally, or to some type of network, right? Some type of backend system like Blue Yonder. So yeah, I think that's a good place to leave it off. We have a little bit of time here if anybody has any questions or has counted how many times we've used sports analogies or 25? Okay.
All right.
He gets
Meet
some
me
here,
after.
yeah. But you know, you have us here if you have any questions about anything, Dick's Sporting Goods or.
I have a question. So do these insights automatically get sent to the IT team to resolve any issues?
Yeah, that's a great question. In fact, I think you just hit on something I forgot to say, which is fascinating. She's clairvoyant. So notification. So Jay is not sitting in front of a dashboard. We have dashboard. Oh, we got dashboards.
Yes.
But you're not, and you're our main stakeholder, right? You're not sitting in front of dashboards. Nobody really is. So the alerting system kind of works as this. So the user, I mean, there's automatic anomaly detection as well, but the most impactful, even if you have 1,000 auto alerts, I know other IT managers too, and a lot of auto alerts get ignored. But when you see alert that comes from a user, and it's not just the alert, but it's the triaged alert. So it's not just that I'm having a slowdown over here. It's why. It's how many other people on the floor are having that. And that all gets directly sent to either an IT support ticket or to your email.
Right.
Or sometimes a phone call, depending on the severity of the situation.
Right. Yeah, and a lot of times what's great about getting the alerts is I've figured out that we have a bigger problem upstream, and the user on the RF gun has figured it out first. So I'm going to them and helping, and then I might have the office say, hey, everything's down. Like I can't use my email. You know, that turns everybody upside down when they can't use their equipment. So yeah, my team uses the alerts as well to triage issues and to say, hey, lately the AP and shipping has dropped several times. What do we need to do to fix that? So yeah, the alerts are helpful, and we do get those real time.
Thank you. Any other questions for us, or maybe you want to disagree? Maybe you want to give us an objection. We'll take it all. It's not a. Who's the guy that used to have the fights on his talk shows? Maury. Is it Maury? Maury, yeah. Who is it? Jerry Springer. That's it. You guys could also like get a real. Okay. Well, is there anything else I'm supposed to remember to say? Yes. Oh, if you want to download, we have a kind of a white paper-ish kind of thing. That QR code will get you there, or you could talk to me and I can email it to you. Thank you, everyone, and we're getting close to cocktail time.
Thank you.